You are listening to Larry Conners, USA.
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth!
This is Larry Conners USA. Larry Conners USA.
When I look at that video, I asked myself, if that would have been a 16-year-old white girl in a wealthy suburban neighborhood, would the police officer have sought to disarm this girl? Would the police officer sought to talk her down? Would the police officer would have used lethal force? And it's hard for me to believe that would have happened. It's hard to me to believe that officer would not have responded differently for a different girl in a different community.
This is April 23rd, 2021. It's only going to be a matter of time. It started yesterday. It's escalating. That the shooting that took place in Columbus, Ohio, where a white police officer shot a black 16-year-old girl with a knife in her hand, attacking another girl, is a racial shooting. That's what they're saying, basically. And that was the remarks of left-wing author Ibram X. Kendi. And his point again being that it's hard to believe that if it had been in a white community, a white girl, that the officer would have fired the shot at that time. I want to take one moment before I get into the real heart of it and point out that the officer had been on the force about 16 months. He's in his 20s. I mean, was his training adequate at that point? We'll have to go through that. But at the same time, while you're saying and complaining he shot the black 16-year-old girl that had a knife in her hand, could the headline also possibly read, "White cop saves a black teenager from death"? Because he saved another girl. That's why he was doing it. He rolled up on the scene and everything suddenly went to an S-storm. He sees a knife, he pulls his pistol, and he's telling everyone, get down. The girl with the Ma'Khia Bryant with the knife of not hearing, doesn't hear, doesn't respond, raising the knife to strike another black girl. So the officer saved her life, but it took the life of the one who had who had the knife in her hand. But of course, if you run the headline, "White cop saves a black teenager," that is contrary to every narrative we're being given and shoved down our throat on a constant basis. We're going to have more on this. Plus, keep in mind also the girl that was saved. Now they're also saying the cop could have shot her by mistake. She was that close. Possible, but he didn't. But why not talk about that possibility as well? He might have killed two black girls, one the attacker and one being attacked. But he didn't. Going to have more on this story today. Plus how the state-controlled media is a clear propaganda machine. We know that more so now than it had been when we were referring to it as a mainstream media. State-controlled media has one intent: divide us. Divide us especially along racial lines. Plus, the border crisis continues to escalate every day. What is Biden doing? What's Kamala doing? What are the border states having to do to protect their American citizens? Because the White House is not acting. Now, Biden is certainly concerned about, the environment. But Kamala said, the environment might be to the blame for our border crisis. See how it all fits together? If you had that view. And then the angry, tearful cry from a mother for her child and other children. What she has to say, I know, is going to echo comments of millions of parents across the nation. Is anyone listening? Is anyone listening as she makes this emotional plea for her child and knowing again that she's duplicating what many others across the nation are saying? Also, I have a confession. I've been a bad boy. I'm going to blame it on Quentin, my director. I'm going to blame him. But I've been a bad boy because I was encouraging him to do it. My bad. YouTube shut down one of our segments. We violated their policy. So I'm hoping you can see this right now. But if you don't, well, you won't even know. But what did I do? What did I do to violate YouTube policy? Nowadays, it doesn't have to be much, but what we did, well, the threat was you do it again and all of your YouTube page will be blocked for a week or more. What did I do? Or Quentin did. I'll explain before we end today's program. Maybe you agree with YouTube. Maybe. We got a lot to cover the next 2 hours. Lock and load. Ready on the right.
You can email Larry at LarryConnersUSA@gmail.com. LarryConnersUSA@gmail.com.